Brick Chick here, and welcome to Q&A Tuesday. The first question is from TD Bricks, who asked, what are your thoughts on LEGO sets currently being sold? Do you prefer the simplicity of LEGO back in the 70s and 80s? That's an awesome question. So, what are my thoughts on LEGO sets currently being sold? Well, honestly, I really like them. I think LEGO's coming up with a lot of cool new ideas for sets, and LEGO's making a ton of new pieces and prints and accessories and just all this stuff. There are so many cool LEGO sets I wish I could buy. I just can't afford to buy all of them. But honestly, the only thing that I don't like about LEGO sets now is that they are getting more expensive, but I totally understand why they're more expensive because with LEGO, you're paying for quality, and I'm fine with that. And then, do I prefer the simplicity of LEGO back in the 70s and 80s? Honestly, not at all. I don't own any vintage LEGO sets, but looking back at pictures of them, they are just way too simple for me. I'm a detail person, and I love putting as much detail as possible into my MOCs, and you guys know that. And so the sets that LEGO made back in the 70s and 80s are just way too simple for my taste, but that's just my personal opinion. I know some of you guys love the old LEGO sets and you prefer those to sets now, but for me, I do not like the sets that LEGO made back then. They're just way too simple for my taste. I love the more detailed sets that LEGO makes today with all the new pieces and prints. This is just my opinion, but honestly, I think some people who say that they prefer older LEGO sets from the 70s and 80s honestly just love those sets because of the nostalgia and not because they actually like the sets. But that's just my opinion. Please don't get offended. I know some of you guys really love the old vintage LEGO sets, and that's totally fine. I understand why you like them, but for me personally, I like the sets that LEGO's been making more recently. And then the next question is from a burger that is also a cat, who asked, what do you find the most useful piece? Great question. So in one of the much earlier Q&A Tuesday episodes, I answered the question, what is your favorite LEGO piece? And I believe I said the headlight brick. I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure that's what I said. But this question is asking, what do I think is the most useful LEGO piece? Unlike a lot of other questions that I get asked, this was actually a no-brainer for me. With a lot of questions, I'm torn between two things, or I just can't decide. For some reason, I just have a really hard time picking my favorite things, but when I saw this question, one piece immediately came to mind. And that is the 1x2 jumper plate. I use this piece so often when I build my MOCs. This is just such a useful piece. I use it for so many different things. I use it to make a lot of different types of cabinets, kitchen cabinets, TV cabinets, filing cabinets. You can use it to offset windows and doors and just add little details to MOCs. I just love this piece so much. But if this LEGO piece didn't exist, which luckily it does, I would definitely have to say the most useful LEGO piece for me is the 1x1 brick with one stud on the front. I use these all the time, from everything to hanging up TVs and paintings to making kitchen cabinets. And then the last question that I'm going to answer in this video is also from a burger that is also a cat, who asked, what LEGO piece best represents you? That's a very interesting and creative question, and unlike the last question that I answered, this is definitely not a no-brainer for me. I really had to think about this one because I've never even thought about what LEGO piece represents me. And I would probably have to say that the LEGO piece that best represents me is the 1x2 jumper plate. And there is some logic behind me choosing this piece, and that is that I'm shy, and sometimes when people meet me and they see that I'm shy and sometimes awkward around people, they judge me on that, and because of that they think I'm not cool and I'm not worth talking to. But once people get to know me and get past that, they realize that I'm actually pretty cool and fun to talk to. And I feel like that kind of describes the jumper plate. When you're looking at it, it just looks so simple and plain and not very useful. You're like, what the heck could I do with that piece? But then once you actually start using it and experimenting with it and building with it, you realize, hey, this is actually a super useful and awesome piece. And I love the jumper plate. It's definitely one of my favorite LEGO pieces and definitely the most useful LEGO piece in my opinion. And I definitely would not be able to build a lot of the things I build without this piece. And that concludes this episode of Q&A Tuesday. I hope that answered all of you guys' questions, and if you guys have any more questions for me, please put them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, and thanks for watching, guys.